Hi everybody, Joey here again and welcome back. So today I'm going to show you how to build a brine shrimp hatchery. Now this is a project that has been done countless times in countless ways, but I get asked to give my take on it all the time. So here it goes. When it comes to feeding live foods, live brine shrimp are a very popular food choice, highly nutritious and a great first food for fry. However, I tend to avoid it. Typically speaking, your fish can sometimes become dependent on it, and a hatchery of any kind may not be as sustainable as you might think. Simply put, you might run out and not be able to keep up with your production, or your culture simply might crash, leaving you with nothing to feed your fish. Personally, I prefer to feed my homemade food to fry, as it's something they readily eat, grow fast off of, and I never really run out. With that in mind, if I were to build a brine shrimp hatchery, I would not depend on just one culture, but several running all at different times. I want to point out that I just used spare supplies that I already had. Obviously, the most popular type of a do-it-yourself brine shrimp hatchery start with a water bottle. For me though, I wanted to run at least 5 at a time. I needed a holder first, so I grabbed some spare plywood and cut it to size and built a little platform tall enough for the bottles to sit in and enough room to easily access the bottom of these bottles. I then marked off where I wanted each bottle and ensured that they were closer to the backside than the front. I'll explain why in a minute. I then drilled the holes out with a hole saw that were barely big enough for the bottles to fit into. I wanted them to be snug. I followed this up by painting the stand white. I went with white simply because it's what I had on hand. Painting it will help seal the wood and make it last longer. Now onto the bottles. I used 5 for this rack. Took the caps off and cut the bottoms of the bottles off. I put the cut off portions aside as I would use them later. I then took a few do-it-yourself CO2 caps I had previously used on a build that I got on eBay for 2 for $1 with free shipping. These were simply screwed onto the bottle ends like we did in that do-it-yourself CO2 video. Other supplies I had on hand were a small air pump. We don't need a ton of air for this though, so almost any size air pump will actually work. Some airline hose, airline manifolds. I only needed one, but they come in various sizes and types. This will allow me to run multiple devices off one air pump and control the air to each with tiny valves. Costs will vary, but you don't need anything fancy. Then some micro ball valves. These were made by 2 little fishies. This will allow you to cut off air or water on a 6mm airline. I also used some painter's tape and a marker. Then some measuring devices. Again, nothing fancy is needed. A 2-liter bottle of tap water ensuring it's dechlorinated. Some rock salt. Any type of salt is actually fine, but I buy rock salt for about $1 a pound and it's 100% salt. Then a bit of baking soda. And finally some brine shrimp eggs. This stuff actually looks like cinnamon, but certainly doesn't taste like it. Pick up whatever brand you prefer that advertise a high hatch rate. Prices will vary greatly. Connect a short hose and a long hose to each bottle cap. Secure it with the lock nut. Then insert them into your stand and attach the micro valves to the short hose. Attach the longer hose to the manifold and close all of the valves for now. Now since we're going to mix up so many bottles at once, I prefer to keep them all consistent in salt levels by mixing the salt in a 2-liter bottle first. Depending on the brand of brine shrimp eggs you get, how much you will need will vary. They will come with directions though, so don't worry about it. Typically the average is around 1.5 tablespoons of salt per liter of water, or 25 parts per thousand, which is a specific gravity of 1.018. A pinch of baking soda per liter of water will also help stabilize the pH. Mix it up well and fill each bottle to about 70%. Turn your air pump on and open the air valves, using them to ensure each bottle gets an even flow of bubbles. Then add your brine shrimp eggs, again usually 1/2 teaspoon per liter of water. I should say that these measurements are really flexible, so don't worry about getting it all perfect. Your water will turn brown with all the eggs added. In this example, I'm filling up all the bottles. However, you will only want to fill up 1 each day, or every second day, depending on how fast you go through a bottle. This way, you'll always have a constant fresh supply of brine shrimp. To ensure you don't lose track of which bottle is oldest and which to feed first, use that painter's tape and write down the date it was made and tape it to the front area we created earlier. We use painter's tape because it goes on and comes off easily without ripping up any paint. The next thing we need is heat and light. Luckily, something as simple as a desk lamp will actually provide both. The water does need to be pretty warm, usually upwards of 25 to 28 degrees Celsius or 82 degrees Fahrenheit. The eggs will not only need the warmth, but the light is also needed during the incubation period. Now we can take the cut off bottoms of the bottles, turn them upside down, and set them on top of the open bottles. This will help with evaporation and heat retention. just sit them on top lightly. Don't stress out if they don't hatch within 24 hours like most claims. This can sometimes take up to 36 hours or even a little more. It all depends on the lighting and temperature. You'll find the right combination by trying a few things out. So if you don't get this right the first time, don't worry, it can take some practice. When they do hatch, the water will change color. Turn the air supply off by turning the valve of the manifold of the bottle, and wait about 5 to 10 minutes. The egg capsules will float to the top and the brine shrimp will sink to the bottom. To harvest, simply turn the micro valve and a fresh gush of fresh brine shrimp will exit. Take as much as you need and close it. You can add this directly to your tank as is, because the small amount of salt water won't harm your fish. However, you can also strain them out with a coffee filter as well. Once you exhaust one bottle, take it off the rack, rinse it, and start a new culture. Yet you won't have to worry about waiting for them to hatch, as you have 4 other bottles to provide with a daily supply. So that is my take on a brine shrimp hatchery using a few materials I had on hand. Obviously, you can get more creative and use whatever you like from this build, but the point here is that there are many ways to hatch, harvest, and feed these guys. The real point of this video is just to simply show you and stress the fact that you shouldn't depend on just one hatchery at a time. I think the saying goes, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I also wanted to thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next Sunday for a new do-it-yourself project.